And we're back. All right, so at this point in the autolyze, it's been going for about an hour. The dough, if you look at it, when we mixed it all together, it kind of looked like a shaggy mass. At this point, it's starting to look a little bit more like dough. So what I'm going to do, according to the recipe that I posted, is that I'm going to add the salt now. So it's about 0.6 ounces of salt. And then we're going to mix it for 2 minutes. And then we're going to let it rest again. And for the resting, that's called the bulk fermentation. That's when it rises. And during that fermentation, you also fold it at a couple of different intervals. So what I have learned the hard way is that it's actually best to measure out your salt before you put it into the dough, because it's really hard to get salt out of the dough if you do too much. So I take a bowl, put it on my scale, zero the scale out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 0.6 ounces of salt. So 0.6 ounces of salt. I take that salt, I sprinkle it nicely over the dough. And I'm going to put it back again with a pigtail dough hook. And I am going to mix it now for 2 minutes. So in this book, whenever you see a range of mixing times, you should always go on the upper end of the range, because home mixers are not as effective as commercial mixers. I'm going to run this now for 2 minutes. And during that time, I'll see if I could edit it out to make it less boring. And by the way, it's going to be 2 minutes at, according to this, the second speed on your KitchenAid. So go to speed 2 and let it run. And we're done. So while it was mixing, you might have noticed the consistency of it changing. What it's actually doing is starting to develop the gluten strands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get off as much of the dough as possible from the hook. I'm going to scrape the sides. There's a little bit of dough just on the sides. And then I'm going to cover it. So the next step is going to be called the bulk fermentation. It's actually 2.5 hours long. And we're going to have in two, I believe, 50-minute intervals, we're going to fold the dough. So instead of punching it down, a lot of the gases are going to be coming up, and the best way to actually get rid of that and strengthen the dough is folding it. So I'm going to have 2 steps over the next 50 minutes, and then 50 minutes again, folding the dough, and then we'll shape it and get ready for the baking. So we'll see you again in about 50 minutes. Talk soon.